That should be an easy.
The same investigative model would apply.
Okay, so maybe this is something the current FBI could tackle. I've exceeded my time, and we'll begin our second round, and the chair recognizes Mr. Nehls.
Hey, thank you, sir. I was running out of time, but I finished talking about that first breach. This entire document is about Donald Trump. It's about blaming Donald Trump. Donald Trump commanded, he ordered his followers to go to the Capitol to storm the Capitol. I find it interesting because the first breach occurred 20 minutes before Trump's speech ended. Why would Trump supporters leave a Trump speech and breach the Capitol grounds before the speech ever ended? I've been to rallies, this and that. When the boss is up there speaking, nobody leaves early. Nobody leaves early. I tell you why, because there was never a call to violence. There was never a call to violence or a call to storm the Capitol. That was something the militia groups are craving and created on their own. The Oath Keepers, Proud Boys, Antifa, 3%ers, bad actors that day, gotta say it, bad actors. They were acting alone and not listening to Trump. Stuart Rhodes stated that if Trump didn't do what they wanted, they would have to do it themselves. The January 6th resulted from a gross failure of intelligence, not the actions of Donald Trump. Capitol Police Assistant Chief Yogananda Pittman was in charge of the Intelligence Division of the U.S. Capitol Police in days leading up to January 6th and produced a report, the January 3rd Special Event Assessment, and stated, quote, Congress itself is the target on January 6th, and, quote, protesters may be inclined to become violent, and, quote, there have been some worrisome calls for protesters to come to these events armed. Another quote, the sense of desperation and disappointment may lead to more of an incentive to become violent, end quote. Even worse, Pittman testified to the Senate that she had shared the appropriate intelligence with the assistant and deputy chiefs of the Capitol Police, which is unconditionally false. It was never sent or shared. Why can I say that? I can say it with certainty because if you look at Harry Dunn, Officer Harry Dunn's testimony in the previous committee, he states that he believed that January 6th would just be like any other day. He had no independent reason to believe that there would be violence. And in his own words on July 27, 2021 testimony, Harry Dunn stated he thought there was going to be peaceful protests and received no threat warning from the chain of command. So the question is, who lied? Harry Dunn, you're lying, or Yogananda Pittman, who's got a nice job. Pelosi gave her a nice job there in California. So now we know why the Capitol Police was so ill-prepared. We know why. Assistant Chief Yogananda Pittman never shared the intel. Now let's talk about the deployment of the National Guard. In order for the Capitol Police to request outside assistance, the 3 members of the Capitol Police Board must declare an emergency. But this wasn't done. Went until very late. Isn't it interesting there is not a single word in the report from any of the 3 voting members on the board? How could there not be? Finally, the subject of this hearing, the pipe bomb, only mentioned, guess what? 5 times in this appendix. It's in the appendix at the end of the report, even though the pipe bombs were by far the most serious thing that occurred that day, as they could have killed many people, the VP, the Vice President-elect of the United States. The previous committee nor the FBI cared. They didn't care about it all. Understand the effect of the discovery of the pipe bombs in the timeline. The first pipe bomb was reported to law enforcement at 12:42 p.m., which drew half of the police away from the Capitol building. The officers began arriving 2 minutes later at 12:44. Then the bike wreck perimeter is breached minutes later at 12:53. Now that security at the Capitol has been softened. It's smart. This was organized. This was an operation, folks. And then at 12:59, 6 minutes later, Congress convenes to certify the election. It's very interesting that the pipe bomb is reported just minutes before the joint session convenes. Here's the key the American people need to understand. The FBI, Patel's FBI, didn't get any new information. No new information to find the pipe bomber. They had all the evidence to identify him and had been in possession of Christopher Wray's FBI for the entire Biden administration. It's extremely bizarre, folks. It's bizarre because the January 6th investigation was the largest and most extensive in the history of the FBI. This is the article. The Wray FBI aggressively pursued and charged nearly 1,600 individuals in all 50 states, including elderly individuals who committed no acts of violence. They identified and tracked these people down, breakneck speed, using every tool at their disposal. Left no stone unturned when we had an FBI whistleblower disclose to us that they were even pulling agents off of porn cases, child porn cases, so they could catch trespassing grandmas. But for the pipe bomber, there was comparatively no effort to find this person. I ask unanimous consent to enter into the record of today's hearing the CNN article titled Biggest Investigation in FBI History still has Merrick Garland in the hot seat.
Without objection.
And I'd also like to enter into the record, this is good, to help my colleague from Texas on the other side that talked about impeachments. November 6, 2024, Trump is elected, the Los Angeles Times, Trump is elected the 47th president, soundly defeating Harris to retake the White House. This is a beautiful one
Without
here.
objection.
Everybody read it. I yield back.
The gentleman yields, the gentleman from Maryland.